And so, Ikuo, you're Asia Berlin ambassador, and what does it mean for you? Like, what is your connection to Berlin? Please share.
So, what does it mean to me? So,
Yes.
the connection and a bridge between Berlin and Tokyo.
Yes.
It's kind of a general, vague question, so I don't know what I should answer to your question, but
so maybe about your participation in the Asia Berlin Summit, and you come back to Berlin a few times, right?
Yes, I think for the last 5 years, I have kept back and forth between Tokyo and Berlin, maybe several times. Typically last year, I visited Berlin 5 or 6 times, once in 2 months because of the Infarm business. So first time I visited Berlin was back in November 2015. That was the time I first met Ares and Guy, the founders. At the pitch event we organized, that was called the Innovation Weekend, and Infarm won that event. And we invited them to Tokyo to compete for the Grand Champion of the Year, because all the winners and runners-up from the each city had been invited to Tokyo to compete for the world champion in the season. And actually, Infarm won the season prize. So that was my first time to visit Berlin, and also the first time I met founders of Infarm. So right after that, I became a big fan of Berlin because of such a chaos culture.
Very lucky visit and exciting news. We are very grateful to hear from you. So how did the investment work? How do you think it helped Infarm expand to Japan and do many more things?
So that question should be answered by Ares, because he is the person and the Infarm is the company who had
but from an
a
investor
benefit,
point of view,
right?
maybe.
But I think so. When Ares came to Tokyo for his first time, because of the prize of the winner at the Berlin, so he was so impressed about the Tokyo and the Japanese culture. So the Tokyo and also Osaka, 2 big cities in Tokyo, have been listed as a destination and a market Infarm is planning to come into. So right after that, we have kept in touch when, how Infarm can come to Tokyo. And so we helped feasibility study and kind of strategy development, and are engaging possible investors and also the corporate partners. And eventually, so JR East, one of the largest railway companies in Japan, has invested in, and also their 100% Kinokuniya, it's a premium supermarket, decided to launch the Infarm. So anyway, in terms of those kind of connection and helping them to launch, I think our small money could help Infarm, not only money, but real network and physical connections and building credibility in the very conservative Japanese big companies.
That's a huge success story for Berlin and our Asia Berlin activities. Thank you so much, Ikuo. So what would be your advice for entrepreneurs who are seeking to find Japanese investors? Do you have any advice?
It's also a difficult question to answer. In the startup community and the IT-related people and companies, So they do speak decent English, but when your business is associated with the conventional industries, not really many people do speak English. So this is the question actually, but so how to build the connection, bridge builder. That is the crucial, very important task to tackle into the Japanese market as a first step. So the question is how to find those kind of connection and a bridge builder anyway.
Yeah, that's very valid, and we need more English-speaking opportunities also in Berlin. Right. So it's bridging the two. So Ikuo, you hear so many pitches from different startups all over the world, and you already shared some successes between the relationship with Eris, but what made you really say yes to invest? What did it take for you?
Very interesting question. So when I met them for the first time, as I mentioned back in November 2015, Infarm had only one pilot in-store farm. So not, commercialized yet, still research phase stage and a pilot project. However, the vision of Infarm and the kind of how should I say, personalities and the personalities of three founders. I thought those founders will make it happen. So that's only one pilot farm, and we didn't do any due diligence, to be honest with you.
Wow. That is so pretty rare.
We decided so quickly, and we offered them a kind of free, feasibility study for free. And then, of course, they accepted our offer, and that's kind of led us to the journey.
Wow, that is very unique. And so I know I asked you this before, but if there's anything else that comes to your mind as far as other entrepreneurs here in Berlin, there's such a vibrant city, and they also are thinking about Japan as a market. Any other advice that you have had, or any resources that they can improve their pitch, or what do you look for when you are considering to invest?
So your question is advice for the
founders here in Berlin.
So excuse me. So your question is advice for the startups and the founders who are interested to come into the Japanese market. So what? Yes. Okay. Very difficult. Anyway, meeting people. So that's the first action should be made, and then evaluate and define what kind of opportunities or problems can be solved by their products or services in Japan. Then you can research and eventually find appropriate investors or clients or partners. So anyway, you should drill down what you would like to and who you you would like to reach out to.
So really focus and research, right. Of course, and right. Meeting people. You cannot do without that. So very cool. So we have several questions from the audience, Ikuo, but is there anything else that you would that is on your mind that you would like to address the audience?
I don't know what sort of audience is participating in this webinar, but maybe this is not the topic you would like to ask me, but the question you would like to ask me. But to me, the uniqueness of Berlin is, even though the Berlin is a capital city of Germany, however, even though I don't speak any German, but the English is the common language, that is a super, super big. If I visit Berlin for my first time, as I mentioned, the image and recognition, a perception of Berlin is just a wall, or used to be part of the USSR kind of thing. It's, to be honest with you, I was kind of scared. Berlin is, very kind of dangerous city, and the not friendly, those kind of negative image. But right after I visited, my perception and recognition was gone. And I thought Berlin culture and the atmosphere of the city reminds me of the East Village in New York City. So, and actually, I have been kind of addicted to visiting New York City. I should say I was when I was young. So that also kind of made me to like Berlin a lot. I don't have to speak any German, and the atmosphere and the culture is pretty much similar to the ones in New York City. So actually, that was 2 years ago, I think. I made a survey about image recognition of Berlin among the Japanese people. And most of them did not realize and did not understand, English is almost a common language in Berlin. And the people who realized, so English is a common language in Berlin, then the interest becomes stronger. So I actually suggested Rainer, so Berlin senator or city government should more appeal at that point. So people don't have to learn German, and as long as you speak English, you can get in touch with the local community, especially entrepreneurs or startup related community. So that is one of the advantages of Berlin, I think.
I very much agree, because I moved from United States, and I have to say that East Village is not even close. Berlin is much better for me. And yes, we need some sort of communication campaign, I think, to make sure that Berlin is English speaking and open to the world for business.
Right.
Thank you so much. That was very valuable to hear from you, and some points for us to work on. So if I may take some questions from the audience, and please use your, please add more to the Q&A feature. So it's mostly about Infarm, and I know that Ikuo Eres is not here. However, if you can talk about some aspects of this. So one question from the audience is that there are many attempts about vertical farming in Japan. What made Infarm so successful in Japan?
So anyway, so Infarm is going to launch in the Japanese market. So meaning we have not yet launched. So however, our differentiator or the competitiveness against the others. So we have farms at the supermarkets, the retail stores. And so, customers can physically see how all the vegetables are going to be grown and harvested. Very transparent, right? Mm-hmm. So vegetables are commodity, of course. However, Infarm can make our vegetables kind of branded vegetables because of such kind of visibilities and also the philosophy. So that would differentiate us from others, and our vegetables are being sold live because the roots are still sticking with the vegetables. So those kind of features and the business model, I think that are our competitiveness and advantages.
Very cool. And thank you, Ikuo. So one more question from the audience is also about more aspects about Infarm. So as far as electricity consumption and limited variety of crops, so are there any comments that how is Infarm addressing these two, for instance?
Okay.
Very specific.
Great questions. I'm not the engineer, so I have not fully understood, and I cannot answer from the technology perspective. But as far as I have learned from the guy, the other founder, he's a CTO. So the cost of the electricities and the LED have been reduced so dramatically if compared to the 5 years when they started. So every single year, the cost keep reducing, right? That is the first point. So technology always, keep improving. And then the varieties, Infarm can grow roughly 70 varieties, right?
Wow, that's a lot, yeah.
And then the typical typical plant factory model, they produce only one variety or 2 or 3 varieties at the huge factory, as literally factory. However, Infarm is running their of course, we have several sizes, but the minimum size is the 2 square meters footprint. And then we can design and manage every single different climate per unit, right? So if we have let's say 10 units, then we can design and manage 10 different climates. For example, Tokyo, London, I don't know, somewhere in France or Africa, etc. So that's why
it's impressive.
We can offer lots of kinds of the varieties. So even though the one unit at the store allows us 5 or 6 varieties per unit. However, we also have the place called the hub. It's a sort of like a central kitchen, if I use the analogy from the food industry. So we have lots of farming units at the hub, and then we can grow based on the demand from the supermarkets. So we can also deliver the harvested live vegetables to supermarket, in addition to the vegetables grown and harvested in front of the customers at the supermarkets. So we call it hybrid model. So that's why we can offer them lots of varieties. I hope I answered to the question.
Yes, you did, and it's very impressive what Infarm has been able to achieve in such a short period of time. And when I was talking to Eres' team, they also, what's very unique, at least for me, is the network, right, of the farming network. So if from, again, investor perspective, if Eres shared with you the vision, right, that really impressed you for the next 20 years, what would you say? Where can Infarm go?
Excuse me, could you say it again?
So the vision that Infarm shared with you as far as their future.
And so you asked me, so what I thought about?
Yes.
I think that's gonna come true. So, for example, I don't know how much you are familiar with Japan, but we have lots of typhoons coming every year, and lots of farm lands are destroyed. So this is one of the things and the reasons I believe as lots of things have become automated by technologies. I believe agriculture also be able to be modernized by technology, and also by using such technologies, not only Infarm, but all the LED and hydroponics based the players, so we can reduce the waste of vegetables and reduce the emission and CO2 generated during the transportation from the I don't know, far from the country, because lots of foods have been imported right now, but we can minimize those imports and the minimize the energy consumption, meaning minimize the CO2 generation.
Wow, that's really amazing, and I hope it does come true, the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's going, actually, it has become true partially because Infarm has now expanded to the 9 countries. So 7 in Europe, and US and Canada, and Japan is going to be the 10th destination.
Wow, lucky 10. So,
thank you.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ikuo, for your time.
My pleasure.
Do you have any call to action or any last words that you'd like to share with our audience?
As I said, I don't know where all those lovely audiences are joining from. Someone from Europe, someone from Asia, someone from the maybe States.
We're global.
Yeah, right. So, but so from the Japanese perspective, or the startup community, or IT related or investors perspective in Japan, so lots of people only pay attention to the Silicon Valley, the Bay Area, but there are lots of interesting startups in Europe, right? So I would love to let them know it's worth it to pay attention to the what's happening in Europe, Berlin, London, Paris, and also, of course, the other cities and countries. So if I could be a kind of bridge, as Rainer expected, that would be my pleasure.
Thank you so much, Ikuo. You're a real AsiaBerlin ambassador for us, and we're very grateful for your time. And we will open up the breakout rooms now. So if Ikuo, will you stick around for just a few more questions from?
Sure, of course, so, my pleasure.
Great.
But so, I don't know how I can stick with the people.
Okay, so we will share the link with you, and everyone else who's watching, please go ahead and tune in. my colleague Martin will share our breakout rooms landing page, and you can meet others there as well. And so huge thank you for this dynamic event with so many amazing key partners for us, Berlin Senate, and of course enpact has a pleasure of working with Berlin Senate, and also what a great community we have. So I'm very grateful, and also to my colleague Martin, Jan and Alex and Isaac, who's behind all the video beauty that we have. And so thank you so much for your time. So please tune in to the breakout room sessions now, and we will join you with our next event coming up soon. Stay tuned.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Elena.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.